I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. The way I'm going to introduce this, I'm going to open up your ability to interact with me by using a subject matter called Understanding America Today. Because America is not the America of your grandfather, your grandmother. America is not the America of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. America is not the America of John Kennedy. And America is not the America she'd been mainly for about 200 years. She's a different America, and we need to try to understand her. She's still, if you will, America in that regard. So I raised the question to engage you before I begin to lay out the subject matters as a teacher by saying, understanding America today. And by that, I mean to come to terms with a reality of what America is. And a large segment of you would not understand America from years ago, except what scant history you may have regarding sometime going back 50, 60, 70 years ago, what America was like and what she is like now. And one of the greatest things about trying to understand America today, and this is no surprise to you, I'm not teaching you anything that you may not know, but at least I can agree with you and express how intelligent you are, is that social media is playing perhaps the most powerful role in America when 50 years ago there was no such thing. America's completely and totally, absolutely, positively consumed by media. And everybody has a media source, an iPhone or an iPad or a computer, or even young children all have access to media. They call it social media. There was nothing like that. Nothing like that 70 years ago. Nowhere near. And social media's transformative or transforming of America cannot be overstated. Not even religion, not even evangelism, not even the Great Awakening, not even the both Great Awakenings here in America, the burned over district, the Great Evangelism, the Great Crusades. Nothing compares to the power of social media and how many people are participating with it. And so if you're going to understand America today, because everybody can have a secret life, everybody can have a life interacting with others that just was not possible. I mean, the things that are potentially possible now to a 7-year-old was not possible to a 70-year-old going back 70 years ago. So if we're going to understand America, you must understand social media. Now, then you have to make a decision, and I'm not going to tell you which way to go, which road to go down. Is social media a good thing or a bad thing? So if we understand America, is America better today with social media, with access? Everybody's got an iPhone. And one thing is that there's no more long-distance telephone calls. Praise God for that. Long distance. Yeah, Mr. Operator, Mrs. Operator. Oh, come on, man. Come on, get back on course. So is America better today with social media than America was before the advent of social media? And that's the question that I'm going to try to raise and try to answer in such a way as to not get kicked off Facebook or to lose you as a follower or subscriber, or whoever you are. So are we in a better state? Are we living in a better America? And that's a question. That's a reasonable. I'm not asking a more modern America. The more modern does not make it better. Are we living in a better time? I think that the rap artist woman, Cardi B, said that she is a prisoner to her fame. That she had a better life when she was poor, or at least that's what I understood her to try to express, that she had a better life when she was poor and nobody. That now that she's rich and famous, she's a prisoner, and she's not all that happy about that. So a more modern America, a social media America, may not necessarily be a better America. That's the question. And we want to try to understand the concepts of that. Because I want to go somewhere with this. I want to try to help you learn how to protect yourself for what's coming down the line. Because we have some horrific things that are coming as a result of all of what's been planted in terms of our global position and America's position in particular. So we have the power of America. And then two of the most transformative persons of late, I mean, John F. Kennedy, what can you ask? Not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Roosevelt and Churchill, fear not, fear, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. These were transformative leaders of their day and of their time, and at a very crucial time in America, understanding what America was during those years. But more recently, we've had Barack Hussein, and I call him the long-legged Mac Daddy Obama, and we've had Donald, who I refer to as Tribulation Trump. These are two very transformative persons who have been at the helm of America, as was JFK and Franklin D. Roosevelt. And both of them have left a mark on America that cannot be erased. And I'm going to go ahead and say that the mark is not a good mark. And I'll try to come back to that. Well, one of the things I think that that can happen for going forward is that at the presidential level, I don't know if we can ever expect elections to be valid, that they're actually true and honest elections in the future, potentially. But if we can't trust our electoral system, then we're not going to trust the people that are in power. Right now, whatever you may think about Joe Biden, and I'm not for Biden, I'm not a Democrat nor a Republican. But in addition to the fact that Joe Biden is facing a social media world that George Bush or Bill Clinton didn't have to face, and he's facing inflation, where everybody can talk, social media, everybody, and yet his presidency, while I'm not here to say he's a good or bad president, the problem is that Bill Clinton never faced what Joe Biden is facing right now. And so in terms of him trying to cope with all of this, and I have to tell you, whoever becomes president, if Jesus doesn't come back after Biden, is going to have to face something far more insidious, if you will. But invalid elections have become normalized now. That is to say that people don't trust the election process. And that is attributed to Tribulation Trump. But same-sex marriage has now become normalized. It's normal. I mean, even John Kennedy himself would have gone through the roof had same-sex marriages been touted or praised the way it's being praised now. So if you want to understand America now, you must understand America's past. And we must understand it in the context, it's what is ethical and what we can hold on as ethical, tried, time-tested, and which should not be changed, that a standard of morality ought to be stare decisis. That is to say, it should not be changed. There's a standard of ethnicity, I suppose, that should not be changed. Same-sex marriage is a whole new ballgame, has become normalized. Let me step back for just a second here, because I want to say this, and I don't want to get in any trouble with anybody, especially these social media platforms. But, we're looking around now and we're watching all this gun violence especially by JFIF, young boys, these mass shootings in El Paso and Uvalde and Springfield, down in the Texas church going back a couple of years ago. And of course, you got, Top Supermarket, you got more recently Highland Park and other places. And people are appalled because this is not America 70 years ago. Nothing like that ever happened. But nothing like that ever happened 50 years ago. Nothing like that ever happened. This is a new phenomena that has now become normalized. And moreover, nobody seems to know what to do about it. And it is tragic. It is And for those who have a sense of young people, I don't know if they really understand it, because just because a 21-year-old has not picked up a gun and walked into a school and killed students, it doesn't mean that they necessarily find it an awful thing to do. How can I explain that? Let me put it to you this way. That same-sex marriage has become normalized. Well, in a larger sense, and most people will not say this publicly, but public shootings by young people, especially JFIB young men, has become normalized. People, they just do it now. It's just, they get on tell, well, we're proud, Parkland High School, and we're going to stop it. But it's all normalized now. And there's going to be more. The next couple of weeks, there's going to be another one. It's become normalized. And so, as offended as you may be, how awful this is, that this has become normalized in our society. There are other people out there in the world who feel that same-sex marriage is just as injurious in terms of its normalization. Now, it's not the same, it doesn't have the same death toll and victim, and all that kind of thing, but in terms of ethical change and our understanding, same-sex marriage is just as brutal to the mind of some people as school shootings. It's just wrong. It's horrible, but it's normalized. And now, they're not the same in terms of the pain that they create person to person. We understand that. And I'm not saying that they are. What I am saying is that the ethical position, when you look at it from a spiritual point of view, or from an ethical point of view, or normalized point of view, for many people, it is traumatic what's going on, that women are calling each other their wives. That's my wife. A woman calling another woman her wife. Another man calling another man his husband. This is devastating. This is on the likes of the Uvalde school shooting. When you have to watch it on television, you have to watch all this same sex on television created by Obama, or at least he helped promote it. It's the same as watching Uvalde in commercials. It was, when you see two same-sex men, to go and be who you are, two men deep tongue kissing one another, right? For some of us, it's like watching the Uvalde shooting of those 19 9-year-olds in real time. That's how shocking and devastating it is. But it's normalized. Understanding America today. And then there are those that say, well, we should not ban. We have a constitutional right to bear arms. And that's true. And anybody who wants to take away our guns, you're wrong because we have a right to do that. Well, then the others say, well, we have a constitutional right for man to marry man and woman to marry woman. You see? You want to take away our constitutional right? You want to deny us of our rights to marry man to man, and then to ban assault weapons? Why can't we have them? Why can't man marry man? Why can't we have commercials on television of men kissing men? Normalized. And then there are those that go out. So to understand America, I think that people are just riding along the wave and thinking this is the way it's always been. No, it has not. And I have to tell you, there's going to come something that, for instance, right now, people are terribly disturbed. I mean, for me, and I don't want to get thrown off social media. I don't want to beg them either, by the way. And the two are not the same. But spiritually, when I watch the promotion of same-sex, and then people highfalutin getting on television, and then the professors and in the media and everybody, how wonderful it is that two men are married and all that kind. For me personally, and don't take away my freedom of expression, that's as painful as watching a boy go into Uvalde school and shoot a bunch of 9-year-olds with an AR-115. That's how destructive, that's how devastating. And that's what that's how devastating that is. Now, you may not understand that. because you don't have a past that would predicate your ability to understand that. But we've not always had school shootings. I can tell you that we'd have spitballs in school, rubber bands shooting spitballs in school. That's about the height of where it went. Now they end up walking. I mean, I come from a generation of spitballs. You don't even know what a spitball is. Take a piece of paper, put it in your mouth, chew it, get it sloppy with spit, take a rubber band, and the guy sitting across the seat, 2 seats ahead of you, put that piece of paper on a rubber band, pull it back, and aim it at the back of his head. Pow! And hit him. That was the extent of what we had in school shootings. That was it. Now it's AR-15s. So if we're going to understand America, it's important that we allow both sides, which is the other thing. Social media will not allow both sides. I'm taking a big risk by making these statements because they don't want this kind of exposure. They don't want this kind of presentation because social media now controls everybody's mind to some degree in terms of what people are ingesting in their minds and in their hearts and spirits. So I'm taking a big chance by bringing forth this message. But the most shootings in schools from the generation of America, when America was indeed America, was a spitball. Now it's an AR-15. The worst in terms of sexual relations was, young girls and young boys having sex and not being married. Now it is applauded from the highest cathedrals of our universities, our media centers, our government, that man can marry man. It's devastating to some when you totally understand America. All right, so I've said that. Now, can I turn a corner for just a second? Because, in fact, here's what I do. Let me just take a break. Can I do that? I think we all need to take a respite right now and try to understand. Try to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. Before you, where you're denying homosexual or LGBT, you're denying them their right. They have a right to love who they want to love. No. That is not the America of rights that we understood to be time tested over the past 7,000 years or 10,000 years of humanity. And just because a person doesn't want to accept that doesn't mean that they're denying somebody something that they believe is wrong. Many of you know in your heart or believe in your heart that there should be a ban on AR-15s, and some of y'all think all weapons ought to be confiscated. But there are people that are there because people are dying, children are dying with bullets to the head from an AR-15 because of that. But there are many people who say you're trying to take away our rights to bear arms. You say, well, what's an AR-15 got to do with bearing arms? You go buy yourself a pistol. But the same way you challenge and say that many are offended by same sex, and you're trying to take away their rights, remember, you find it lunacy that there's more than 20 million AR-15s in circulation in homes in America today. Hell, there ain't 20 million rabbits to be shot. There ain't 20 million pieces of game, whether it's a rabbit or a deer or whatever it is you're going to go hunt. There ain't 20 million rabbits. There ain't 20 million deers in America to be shot if you're going to use as hunting rifles. No, to understand America, we need to understand that we're falling into an abyss. We have. There's no doubt about it. And we're not going to get out of it. The Republican Party not going to get you out of it. The Democrat Party not. The only thing that's going to get you out of it is Jesus. But that's another problem. You don't want to go down that road either.